let me just familiarize our audience with the phenomenal work you guys been doing. So Dana, you built your first app, Sprinkle of Jesus, at the age of 21 in 2 days without technical experience. And now Sprinkle of Jesus is the largest Christian mobile app in the world with over 8 million users. And in addition to that, you're the founder of Curl Bible, an online beauty supply store that hosts products from over 200 small businesses. Plus, you're the owner of an app development company and an investor in a credit company called Credit Exterminators.
Damn,
and
who am
now,
I sitting next to?
right? Right? But I mean, Don, you've also been doing phenomenal work. You dropped out of college, left your job at TD Bank where you were making $15 an hour, started working for Dana, and now you are the CEO of Jumping Jack Tax. And you guys launched Jumping Jack Tax in 2019. Already, it has become the fastest growing tax preparation company in the country with over 400 licenses nationwide. That is so phenomenal, so amazing. You guys are only 25 years old. Dana, how did you become a multi-millionaire and serial entrepreneur at the age of 25?
I feel like there's so much that goes into that one question. But I feel like it doesn't really matter what my answer is. It's what's going to help the next person who's watching that to feel like it's obtainable. And I would say solution. Throughout this entire journey, literally all that we've done was attempt to find a solution to the problems around us. But most importantly, the number one foundation of whatever solution we decided to choose or say, okay, that's what we're going for. Just look at the world around us. What are the most successful companies? They involve making sure you provide a way for other people to make money. And so with every single company, that was a foundation. We knew, one, that our calling was to rise up, Black families, to empower them to leadership, into entrepreneurship, and to not just pray about food over the table, but actually know how to go get it. You know what I mean? And so for us, every single one of our companies, we are the liaison to offering Black families opportunities that they didn't have before. For example, with Jumping Jack Tax, people didn't know that you didn't have to be a CPA to do someone's taxes. That greatly changes the game. And when we're having conversations in our household of, okay, how can we make money? How can we pay the bills? How can we build generational wealth? A lot of those things that are need-based businesses in our communities are shut down because we believe we need a degree, we need education, we need money to do so. And so moving into Jumping Jack Tax, our newest company, it was a no-brainer. Like, hold on. This is a business where literally every single person in the United States of America is a customer? What? This absolutely means we can go ahead, build this extraordinary blueprint for Black families, give it to them so that they can flourish and thrive. And so I think that's the winning piece that a lot of new entrepreneurs are missing. You cannot go into business for yourself. And the reason that we are standing here today, 25 years old with so much and such a resume in such a short amount of time, is because we went into business not for ourselves, but for other people.
Yeah, and I know need-based businesses is a big part of your platform, and Jumping Jack Tax is the latest venture. And before we really delve into that, Dana, let's just take it back a little bit more, because Sprinkle of Jesus, the largest online Christian ministry app in the world, bringing us back there, how did you successfully monetize it so early on?
I own my own platform. It's something that we are 100% successfully doing on every single other platform. We just have no equity in it. We've built the YouTube, and I shouldn't even be saying this because they don't pay me. We built the YouTubes, we built the Instagram, we built the Twitter, we built the TikToks, we built the, what was the really short one? The Facebook.
MySpaces and
No, the really short one.
Vine.
Vine, right? So it's our personalities, our content, our strategy, our creativity, our content that we post about these social media sites, but yet they become the billion-dollar company, and you still have social media stars that have 1.9 million followers, but yet they're broke and struggling just to pay their bills working at Chick-fil-A. Do you get what I'm saying? And so for me, I remember one day social media deleted one of my pictures. And I went home complaining to my dad. I'm like, Dad, like they deleted my picture. It wasn't even that bad. Like I didn't break any community rules. Like how bad could it be? I'm a Christian account. Like I care about my image more than I care about Instagram's policies. And after that, the solution was let's create our own. And at first, I could honestly say, and this is with new entrepreneurs, when it goes against the grain and all you're trying to do is fit in, you resist everything. And so he was like, you should create your own app. And I'm like, no, like that doesn't make sense. Like no one's gonna go on an app with just Christian stuff, like people on Instagram, like why would I sit there and create my own platform? And he was like, shut up and just do what I say. I'm like, okay, that's what I'll do. We built a mobile application, and the possibilities that it's given us. Right now, if you were to go into someone's home and they tell you to take off your shoes and you say no, what's gonna happen?
You get kicked out.
Facts.
My point. And so if your business does not have a home, it's homeless. And so with Sprinkle of Jesus, we wanted to make sure, because things were rolling and things were getting popular, that we created a home that we can invite our community into and not be kicked out at any point in time. We didn't want our business to have an eviction notice. And so with Sprinkle of Jesus, from creating in-app purchases, people think that 99 cents isn't a big deal until it comes from 10 million people. Do you get what I'm saying? People think the ability to sell advertisement space. As of right now, all you can do, get a company to sponsor a post. But how do you stay in the company's pocket so that it's a reoccurring subscription charge for you to get money from the company altogether? On a Sprinkle of Jesus, we have advertisement space. It is our platform. No one can shut it down, no one can take it away, and most importantly, they can't monetize it without my permission.
And you have all that data. You have direct access to your consumer base.
That's another lane. Just to chime in, and I say this in every interview, is that Dana was one of the first people I've ever met who had a mobile application on social media, or just in general. How many people have you sat next to who had their own app 5 years ago? Really ask yourself that. So you're looking at somebody who was thinking so far in the future, where now apps still aren't even a wave yet. You think 5 years is going to become one, because people are still on websites right now, which I have my own opinion about that, but she was one of the first people in the app game that introduced me to apps, and it completely changed my mindset on technology and how to always be forward thinkers. So I just want to say, honey, that's pretty dope for you to actually be one of the first people to have an app before anybody else, any other celebrity. And that's how you get it done.
I mean, Dana also introduced you to entrepreneurship. Can you talk about how that transition from working for a bank to essentially working for your now wife happened?
Well, I started out in network marketing, right? When I was like 18 years old, that was my first introduction to business. Network marketing, if you don't know, it's like, people call it a pyramid scheme. You sign other people up to bring them into the business and everything like that. I was very good at it. But
so is it a pyramid scheme?
no, it's not actually. Okay. It's legitimate. I won't break down what the differences are between a pyramid scheme.
We don't own one, so we're not going to promote one.
Yeah, so started out in network marketing. That was my first stint into entrepreneurship, and then I was working for the bank. I've always been in finances. I went to school for accounting and finances. Ended up dropping out, going to work for TD Bank. I was working there, had my insurance license, and I was selling annuities, life insurance. I sold a couple $1 million for them. Funny thing is, my salary never increased with all of that money that I was giving to the insurance companies and to the bank. Come to find out, they were the ones taking all of the commissions while I was still left with $100 in my bank account, right? So to me, I already realized that it was something wrong. So I move over to Wells Fargo because, of course, I'm thinking that a higher salary is better than just starting my own thing. I get there, same thing occurs where I'm just increasing my bills with the salary that they gave me. So I'm in the same situation. A lot of people know what that feels like, until finally I end up meeting my wife. I remember the first time I met her. I tell everybody this story. She pulls up to my apartment. I'm still living in the hood at the time. Like, it wasn't the best area. She pulls up. Her car is wrapped with her face on it, and it got Sprinkle of Jesus on there, as seen on TV, the whole vibe. I run outside of my apartment. I go hop in the car, and I'm like, yo, pull off. Then she got a driver too, by the way, right? So we pull off, and I'm like, yo, I don't want to get robbed or nothing. I don't want people to think that I'm dating somebody that's on TV and stuff like that. So I'm like, yo, why is your car wrapped with your face on it? I've never seen that before a day in my life. And she's like, well, I'd rather promote my brand than somebody else's brand that's not paying me. And that was my first introduction into just thinking bigger than myself. And then from there, I go to meet my father-in-law, super dope. I wish I could go into the story about meeting him. It was a crazy day. But from there, they just took me in. And the day that she told me to leave my job because the app business was growing and she needed help, I literally put in my resignation letter, 4 years experience at the bank, resignation gone. I said, I'm out of here, because biggest thing that I know is if I ever get an opportunity to be around millionaires or people that are doing way better than me, I will never, ever in my life drop that opportunity. So I'm going. I told the bank I'm out of here, was working with her, and we just started. We've been building ever since, and then Jumpin' Jack Tax came after that. And
So how long were you working to build up Dana's apps before you started building up Jumpin' Jack Tax, which you're the CEO of?
So probably about 2 years, I want to say, 2.5, 3 years. At the time,
were you the VP of the company? Like,
yes, of Sprinkling Jesus.
Gotcha.
So at the time, basically, when I left working at the bank and with Dana, I was the VP of Sprinkling Jesus, but I also had my own e-commerce store. At the time, it was called Love Carter. I went into e-commerce because I was doing a lot of motivational, inspirational talk online. The majority of my target market was women. So I ended up starting a jewelry business selling inspirational jewelry. It said like she believed she could, follow your heart. Started that business. The product started selling really well, but of course it's a product-based business. It's not a need. So for anybody that's in e-commerce is like this, especially when you don't know what you're doing, right?
And you don't have a lot of capital for
Don't got a lot of capital for advertisement to be able to reinvest into new products. So I went into an industry I knew nothing about. And funny enough, I'm sitting down with my father-in-law, and he says to me, yo, you should you should go into the tax industry. Because 5 years prior to that, he had already, you saw our mascot before, Jack, the kangaroo. He had already created the kangaroo 5 years prior to that. It was just sitting in his basement because he's like this super innovative, visionary type dude. Why he has a kangaroo in his basement, I don't know. He just started it because he said he wanted to start a tax business. And from there, he just never got around to doing it because he didn't find the right person. He came to me and said, yo, Don, you should start a tax business. I said, nope, because at the time, the e-commerce business was doing pretty well for me. It was my first stint into entrepreneurship, first business. I'm working with Dana. I think the highest that I made with that e-commerce business was about $20,000 a month. About a year later, the e-commerce business crashed down. We hired my mom, my grandmother, got some employees on the roster. The bills is high. Now I'm not making $20,000 no more, but got $15,000 in bills. So very quickly, I went from making $20,000 a month to $3,000 a month with $15,000 in bills, and now I ended up having a $12,000 credit card with a 10% interest rate. So that quickly is how, if you don't know what you're doing, you can get into serious trouble. And then I finally went to my father-in-law and said, yo, what's up with that tax business? What's up with that tax business you was talking about? He's like, I'm glad you asked. And from pivoting back into an industry that I already knew in finances in 2019, that's how it was able to grow at such a fast pace, because I went into something I already knew. So I just encourage every entrepreneur that's listening to this is go with what you know. And that's your easiest way to generate money like that.
You know, it's like an underlying theme here. Uncle Magic, your father told you, start your own app, you resisted. He was like, you should do Jumpin' Jack Tax, you resisted. But then it sounds like, you know, things started falling in line. I mean, you know, I'm a millennial as well. It's hard sometimes for us to really take heed to, you know, our parents and what they tell us. What was it that, you know, made you think like, you know what, my father-in-law really does know what he's talking about. Maybe I should just, you know.
I would say that we're so quick to pick up a self-help book and take advice from someone we have no idea, has probably never been in our communities, probably started with a whole different type of capital or investment or circumstance. We're so quick to pick up a book at Barnes and Nobles and read how to build a business, but yet we're not taking the wisdom right around from us. And I mean, I think that's something that you really have to look at. The underlying factor was wisdom from the past. And he's seen business go up, and he's seen business go down. And a lot of the time, millennials, we think because we're flourishing in the moment, that we're actually building something for the future. And that could be something so far from the truth. And so I would say he had wisdom because the past just repeats itself. The same way that the cassette player and the beeper went out of style is the same exact thing when your Nextel and your Chirp went out of style. Do you get what I'm saying? And for us, the real underlying foundation, though, that I think that a lot of people don't understand when it comes to entrepreneurship is the camaraderie and the importance around group economics. And how, in order to build something, you need other people. You need other people to believe in you, to trust you, to fight on your behalf. I think we all understand that we're living in a culture where people could care less about the product or the service. They care about the person. And I remember what really, really changed my perspective on business and what it meant was, I remember me and my dad were sitting in the basement watching one of those crime shows, really like killing people on TV and stuff like that, investigating. And we were talking about a Sprinklogees commercial, like putting on a Sprinklogees commercial to promote the mobile application. And I said, well, like, my dad has always taught me, you can make money out of no money if you just strategize a way to do it. And I said, what do you mean by that? And so he's constantly been showing how to leverage my community, how to leverage my people, how to leverage my strength of togetherness and bringing people together for a common goal. And I remember we're sitting there and he's like, let's do a commercial, but you're not going to be the face of it. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? I don't understand. And so we masterminded this plan to share commercial space and offer other entrepreneurs the ability to be in a commercial with us. Now, what does that mean? That same $40,000, $50,000 commercial bill that is unobtainable for a small business, can we agree? Not everyone has access to $50,000 for a TV commercial. It's just not possible. So we rallied up about 25, our first Sprinklogees commercial, I remember, we rallied up 25 other Christian entrepreneurs and we put our money together and we put a 30-second commercial. I think we did two different commercials, and we shared the commercial space together. We beat the system. We beat the system on how is it that we can get our businesses right along with the big brands. Now, what did that teach us? It taught us that all we had to do was work together. And so every single business after that has literally been just us working together with other people who believe in this vision of like group economics, family wealth, family entrepreneurship, family business. But I think if it wasn't for wisdom ahead of us, we would have went into entrepreneurship very selfish, just trying to be successful. When you literally are poured into, you realize that entrepreneurship is not about your success, but how many people are attached to you that are successful.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you brought that up because even with Jumping Jack Tax, you've partnered with 400 people around, 500 people around the country.
Since we just met.
The number goes up.
Yeah.
How was that happening? Because you started this business early 2019.
So I want to touch on something from the last question that you asked about Uncle Magic. It's important for every entrepreneur to understand that success has history, right? Nobody just pops up magically out of nowhere and they're this multi-millionaire and there was nobody behind them assisting them through the process of becoming that multi-millionaire. Money just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. And for those who think it does, we gotta kill that vibe on social media that people are driving around in Lamborghinis and they just popped up and started making money. It doesn't exist, right? You look at Serena Williams and Venus and Serena. They had their father behind them who trained them to be very successful in their field. You look at the Jacksons, right? Their father was very successful in pushing them to be the very best that they could be. You look at Beyonce. Her mother and father were very successful in pushing her to be the best that she can be. And then let's just talk about something super real. You go into our communities, the black communities right now, and you see that the Chinese stores, the laundromats, the dry cleaners, all owned by Asians. Do you think that was by coincidence? Can't be, because success has history. They have a blueprint to success on how to find the right office that's in the right neighborhood where everybody in the community needs it, and they don't speak a lick of English but figured out how to get a business license and all of the necessary what are they called? Licenses and inspections that you need to open up shop. How the heck did they figure that out? with little to no English because of a blueprint. So when it comes to jumping jack tax, right, you got to understand, all we did was revolutionize an industry that was already generating revenue, something that everybody needed. We can all agree right now that you need your taxes done. It only makes sense. The reason why it was hard to break into the tax industry, because you got to remember, these big box tax companies were charging $70,000 to $100,000 in order to buy a franchise. That already blocks you out of the deal. If somebody don't want to deal with you, they just raise the price on you and price you out of the market. So how is it now? So they come into our communities, raise the price so that the franchise fee is too high so that you can't get in and make money off of that same community. And now a certain big box company, which I won't say their name because if they don't pay me for advertisement, they make $3 billion a year right in our communities off taxes. So the money was already there. Yeah. It was just that nobody gave our black people, minorities, an opportunity to start tax businesses and to make it cool.
And you mentioned franchising. I know there's a big difference between franchising and licensing, which you're doing. Can you just explain the difference and why you chose licensing?
Absolutely. So franchising basically means you got to be with the it's governed by the Fair Trade Commission, and you have to be with the Franchise Association, and you're governed by whatever rules that they have in place. Essentially with the franchise now, if I franchise the business to you, it has to be done my way or the highway. So I look at a franchisee as a glorified employee. If I walk into your place and your chair is just off the wrong way and it was inside of my franchise agreement for it to not be that way, shut down your doors immediately, you're done. That's how franchising works. And they have rules around it. For example, Chick-fil-A, if you buy into the Chick-fil-A franchise, you have to work there. That's a requirement. You have no say in that because it's their brand and their business. With licensing, for example, which, by the way, licensing is probably the biggest industry and one of the biggest industries in the world that a lot of entrepreneurs are not taking advantage of. Walt Disney is the largest licensor in the world. They made $50.7 billion last year off licensing. Just because they own the IP, intellectual property, to Mickey Mouse, right? They can now sell the Mickey Mouse IP to you, allow you to rent it, right? And put it on your watches and all that and sell it, but they get a certain percentage of royalties off of everything and they're not even responsible for making none of the product. So they made $50.7 billion off of their IP. So when I look at it now with licensing for us, it's flexibility that we wanted to provide the entrepreneurs starting their tax businesses. We wanted every entrepreneur to have their own name when it comes to their tax company, to have their own logos, to be able to run their tax business how they want it, but they were able to use the Jumpin' Jack Tax brand, put partnered by Jumpin' Jack Tax right there. So the flexibility was still there for them because I don't want to be their employer. I'm empowering them, which is the difference.
So when you go on the Jumpin' Jack Tax app and you find a tax preparer, the closest one to you, you are actually supporting a black-owned business inside of your community, someone who actually lives there and is looking to empower it as well. And I think that's very important. It's something that when we looked at our company, what is it that we wanted to build? And for us, we don't want to be able to take anything away from you. We want you to flourish with or without us. But together is always better. But when you get your taxes done at Jumpin' Jack Tax, legit, like you are supporting a small business who's literally putting food on the table, feeding their kid, like buying their kids' uniforms with the money that they're making off preparing your taxes.
And I think too, the reason why we've grown so fast and why we will continue to grow faster than any other tax company is for a number of different things. Number one, we revolutionized the tax industry. Yeah. We've made this cool. As of right now, when's the last time you've seen a tax professional promoting their tax business, but still looking very urban with sneakers on and the vibes instead of wearing a suit? When you picture a tax professional, you picture somebody in a suit or somebody that's older, am I right? Now you're looking at two younger people that got the urban vibe. So now we've connected with the culture to tell them, hey, you can look like me and you can still be educated, drop gems about taxes and finances, and people will still love you anyway. So now the culture is like, yo, I didn't know that, right? And then number two, like I said, the flexibility behind it of us being able to give people the opportunity to start a tax business without having to pay a super high overhead cost that they can't afford. And number three, we don't care about brick and mortar. Of course, we started our own flagship store because we have a certain idea in mind, but our flagship store is used for a different purpose. We're teaching people how to be virtual tax professionals, how you can run a six-figure tax business right from home through the technology that we created. And now you don't even got to meet your client in person anymore. My vision behind it is that I'm able to prepare your taxes while you're driving your kids to school. I'm able to prepare your taxes while you're inside of the grocery store, and I'm able to make the virtual experience so great that you're like, damn, it felt like you were literally sitting right in front of me, just like this. But you don't have to be. The problem with these online software companies is that they try to remove the operator out of the system. You can't remove the tax professional from the system because that's a high level position. The same way that you wouldn't send your mom to go get a heart surgery by somebody that works at McDonald's. It wouldn't make sense. They're not qualified. So we're not trying to remove the operator. We're just trying to change the experience that you have with the operator without the hassle of you being inside of an office.
And I think, to speak to the success of Jumping Jack Tax, you recently released a video saying that you only pay yourself $30,000 a year.
We both do.
Despite the success of your companies, and you're just reinvesting that into, the product, into the business. Can you talk about why it's so important to not blow the money you're making, but to constantly reinvest and stay on course with the vision?
You want to take it? Yeah.
I didn't watch this video. I have no idea what you said.
Well, basically what I said was,
I don't watch his content because half the time
you watch a lot of my content. I watch her content too. We critique each other all the time. Just to kind of off topic, I remember I was making a video with my storyteller, and she literally screamed across the room after the video was over and was like, "The video sucked." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? The video sucked?" She's like, "Do it all over." And she came over and she taught me this concept of just like being a great storyteller behind creating content. This is way off topic, I'm sorry. Creating great storytelling behind your content. At the time, I think I had like 100,000 followers, 150 on social media. After she taught me that strategy of how to really captivate the audience when speaking, I literally went from 150 to 400,000 in like two months.
I agree.
Crazy. So it's like, we watch each other's content, we critique each other all the time. If you have somebody next to you that's an entrepreneur, your spouse, definitely make sure y'all on the same page as far as that goes. But the $30,000 a year.
Zeta, it sounds like you're giving TED Talks every time you speak. I mean, the way that you reel in, people through your voice and voice control and the way you narrate their story.
I think what we just have to remember is, and we're just having this conversation in the car on our way here, is why our content goes so viral and why it's so potent right now in our culture is because I'm just documenting my life. Right now, you're seeing the next Apple out loud being created. You're seeing the next Wix.com. I believe in myself so much, and I believe in what my team is capable of doing and what the Lord has called us to do and who we're doing it for. You guys have just never seen that out loud. You've never seen leadership. You've never seen a leader talking to their team about the level of care for customers and to people, and then you add the reason who we serve, God, and stuff like that. So it's not anything new. We're using extraordinary businesses right now who've accomplished what we're doing. I'm just the first person to show it out loud.
Fly on the wall.
You know what I mean? And I like to call it the fly on the wall. Being the fly on the wall of rooms you have no access to. How do we strategize ways to create extraordinary businesses that are going to change our economic situation? And when we were talking about Jumping Jack Tax, what was interesting is when we personally, like, okay, I understand the technical part of things of what is it that we're attempting to do and innovate in the tax world, but like, don't get it twisted. The reason why we're so behind on the 8 ball is because we're investing in frivolous occupations or glorified jobs whose goal is to maybe go to the NBA, become an artist, become a rapper, but yet a spotlight has an expiration date. We're looking to help Black families build businesses that are enterprises 20 years from now. But it starts, it just starts with what we're doing right now and what we're doing today. And so we're building businesses that have no expiration date. Taxes, it has no expiration date. Our parents have been doing it. The people before us have been doing it. 5 generations before have been doing it. And so we want to just make sure that we're giving our families a solid foundation, not something that is going to require someone to be famous or to be popular. We don't need popularity to be profitable. And so, yeah, we're innovating and we look cool talking about taxes and stuff like that, because guess what? It's the very thing that's going to make us a billionaire 10 years from now. But that's what we're trying to teach families. Like, forget about everything you see on TV and just look at your daily habits. When you get in your car, what are you spending money on? Why have I never seen a black person behind the counter of a gas station? I'm very curious when it's one of the most extraordinary need-based businesses. Do you know what I mean? And so I think the moral of the story is whatever is gonna help us last 100 years from now, and we can say at the bottom of the company or have our 50-year anniversary, that's what we're gonna build. And it could change tomorrow. We could literally change and pivot tomorrow. We know when it happened with the .com era, it was insane. People creating websites and being able to talk online was something that has never been heard of before. And now we have computers in our hands. We've put over 3,000 apps in the App Store with Alakazam apps. We are the foundation. And so as long as we, and I will say it as a million times on this interview when I'm talking so I can ingrain it in people's head, is if we're not moving as a family unit, and I'm talking about family as in this color of our skin, if we're not moving as a family unit, we will all fail. And so we're looking to continue to take over industries that have no expiration date.
Or to just dominate one specific and create the blueprint behind it. But to your question that you asked about the 30,000 per year, I think that's very interesting. This is something that my father-in-law taught me when I had first came into, when they first hired me and I was working for Dana. He sat me down and was like, yo, Don, you're gonna get paid the same amount of money as me. This is, he got 25 years of business experience. I shouldn't be making nowhere near the same amount of money as him. And then my wife already been building Sprinkler G's to a certain point 3 years in. I shouldn't be making the same amount of money. He said, you're gonna get paid the same amount of money as me. $500 every single week is what we're gonna make. And I don't make no more than you, don't make no less to you, because he had to show me that we're on the equal, we're playing on the equal playing field. Nobody's better than the other. We all got to put our work in to be able to make it happen, right? So that was the first lesson that I learned when operating with a team of people. We all play on the same field to build up this empire, right? And then just the whole concept of 30,000 per year. I think a lot of people do it. So many entrepreneurs just spend frivolous money once they make it. They ask this question of, how exactly do you scale a business that quickly? Like Don, Dana, how did y'all scale a business that quickly? How do you buy buildings? How do you renovate them and be able to have them open in 6 months? How do you make those investments? Because I don't spend any money. If you look right now, this is probably the same shirt I've been rocking for the past 6 months. I don't rock nothing but my brand. I don't. I had these jeans for the past 6 months, these sneakers for the past 6 months. I don't switch up my outfits. I don't buy designer. We don't travel. I like cars, so I got cars, but they not even mine. They company cars. Me, 30,000 a year, because I realized that you got to live below your means. The rest of the profits need to go to the business for all investments if you really want to build a serious brand. Those that don't want to build something serious, go spend your money and keep letting it leave your company and circulating through all of these other communities but your own.
But I think it's a little bit deeper than that. And I would say our father taught us that you don't have to be wealthy to be happy and to feel at peace or to be successful. Success is the lack of struggle. You don't need, first off, what the heck am I spending $5,000 a week on? Honestly, what is it? What kind of joy can I bring into my life that I have to spend so much money?
I'm sure I can find some things. It's just
no.
I'm sure
but
I can.
But come on, we are a slave to our businesses in the wolf pack in our team. There's just nothing that we can do to spend so much money on that's just asinine. I'm gonna be honest with you. And it's to us, it was just a testament. One, live below your means so you can dump it into your business. But two, you don't need to be rich to be successful. And it's something that we preach all the time. Right now, we're on a Christian entrepreneur tour. And I'm very clear about when someone comes in for a consult, I'm like, okay, well, I see your business plan. How much money do you want to make? And the first thing they'll just think, and they'll sit there for a second $1 million. And I'm like, hold on, wait a second. Did you just only say $1 million because it's the only thing unobtainable to you right now? You know you don't have to be a millionaire to live a gorgeous, successful, beautiful life without struggle. Remember those jobs that our parents told us to get, like lawyers and doctors? Guess what? their salary is capped at about $200,000 a year. And they're living totally fine. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's like the poppy stores outside in New York City, they're not making $1 million. They're probably making $400,000 a year, but yet their entire family's employed. They probably, they own the building, so their living expenses taken care of. So it's not so much about riches, it's more so about strategy to make sure that your lifestyle is sustained so that you can provide for yourself. That's the only problem that we have. It's just we're struggling. Like it's a struggle to pay the bills right now. I don't want to talk about New York City. It is a struggle. People are literally working 2-3 jobs just to make ends meet and then not spending time home with their families. Like this is hard. And I'm not saying life is supposed to be easy, but it should not be a struggle to provide and put food on the table. And so for us, I'm not telling you I'm gonna make you a millionaire. I'm telling you I'm gonna make sure that I teach you a way to provide for yourself to never struggle again. And a lot of us need to get to that place.
I want to talk about some of the financial benefits of marriage. Now, I know you two have been married for what, a year now, 2 years? 2 years now. You're only 25. And can you talk about why you would encourage maybe other couples who are just dating, maybe shacking up? Why should they get married? Is there a financial benefit to it? Or what benefits? Because you do talk about relationships.
Well,
too.
from a man's standpoint, let's just talk about all of the bills that I gotta pay when I'm taking a nice young lady out on a date, right? And I've had my fair share when I was 18, 19 years old. Number one, I gotta pay for gas to get to and from wherever we going. I gotta pay for dinner, right? It's gonna cost me a couple hundred, depending upon where you go, $100, $150 each time I'm taking a woman out. And then if I want to bring her back home, let's just be honest, if that's what you into, I'm bringing her back home. Hopefully the night ends the way I want it to end. And then from there, I got to drive her back. And I got to keep up this process with my single life, keeping up this process of spending all this money. I can tell you, I probably spent hundreds of dollars that I didn't have just to entertain women that I most likely didn't plan to go into a marriage with. It was just because I was chasing this thing called sex. Right? The sexual urge. But my question is, did the sexual urge, was it worth hundreds of dollars for me to pay? Especially when I'm looking at my 9-to-5 and I'm still going check to check. So the mindset has to change for a man to understand that it's not even profitable for you to be chasing multiple women, when instead you could be investing all of that energy and that time and money and whatever into one woman. Because the God says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. That's just a fact. When I found my wife, it completely increased my seeds and maximized them 10 times over. So I win. I'd rather get 10 times over from one woman than having to deal with 10 different women at one time. It doesn't make sense. So I would take this married life any day of the week because I want to continue to obtain my favor from the Lord. That's all I'm saying. If that's what you believe in from a scriptural standpoint.
My answer's a little bit different because I wasn't looking for marriage at all. I wasn't even looking for a man. I was raised by an extraordinary man that showed me how to go get exactly what my heart desired when it came to self-fulfillment and business, that I finally was able, when I met him, to engage in a relationship with a man that I wanted and not the man that I needed.
Can you talk about why faith is so important to you and how you apply the principles in the Bible to your business?
I think one of the things that we focus on in our marriage and just with our wolf pack, what we call it at the office, is talking to them about generational wealth and inheritance, right? And I believe it's Proverbs 13:22, don't quote me, and it says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children's. That's what the word says, right? So for me, by understanding that word, one of the things we intentionally do in our family and with our wolf pack is teaching them about wealth building, inheritance building strategies, right? Not just sitting here and, okay, I'm working this job or I got this skill. How are you intentionally creating an inheritance for your children? Like, right? Like for me, like based off of that scripture, there are like a few things that come to mind when building an inheritance, right? Number one, everybody should have a family plan. That's one of the biggest things that we teach when inside of our office. Do you have a family plan? What is the plan for your last name? What are the vision and values? What are the financial goals? What are the plans for your daughter, your son, or whomever you have, right? Understanding financial literacy, because there's no way for you to be successful in anything you do if you don't even know how money moves. Because when you understand financial literacy, you're able to now pass this blueprint down to your children, and no matter if they lose money or not, the money is here in the mentality, not in the actual fiat. Like it's not in that, you know. The third thing is you got your family plan, you got your financial, you got the family plan. What was the second one I just said?
I don't know.
Were y'all listening? You got the
I
family.
am listening.
You got the family
Are you
plan.
thinking?
No, I am. I'm thinking faster than I can. Oh, have insurance. That's what I was doing. Have insurance for yourself, right? And that's one of the things we teach in our office as well. Have insurance. If anything ever happens to you, what's going to happen? Insure your flesh. You know, that's the easiest way that you can pass generational wealth or an inheritance down to your children, right? Insurance, something ever happens to me, I'm insured up to $1 million. If I die, then now all of our outstanding debts for our home is paid off. My wife and my children have a head start, right? So these are things that, based off of the scripture, what I just said, that you can start doing now, that God tells you to do, to leave an inheritance for your children's children. So for me, it's not really about faith. It's not really about scripture if you're not actually putting it into play, right? Because like we said, faith without works is dead. We teach actionable. What are the actions that you're taking to be able to make that scripture come to life? You know?
I think, and it's so crazy because it has nothing really to do with business, but this idea of division. It's something that we work very, very hard every single day to get rid of. The enemy has a way of attempting to use our egos and our fleshly wants and desires to destroy the family plan. And that first family plan is for us to all stay on one accord. The reason why our families are so distraught and broke at this very moment is because no one gave the new generation the ability to stand on their shoulders because of division. We're immediately kicking the kids out of the household at 18, knowing damn well they know nothing about credit. The education system that they went to didn't teach them about a mortgage, did not teach them how to fill out an application, didn't teach them anything. So they're going out there to fail on their own. We are not letting anybody fail on their own. You will be frustrated and angry that we're involved in everything. From how you save, how you raise your kids, it is a group effort because you cannot accomplish and become extraordinary without extraordinary wisdom from the years before you. And so for us, it's more so, we even we told the wolf pack that any of y'all kids, they automatically have a job by the time that they're 16 years old. They're not working for McDonald's, they're not working anywhere else, and we're not asking the world to raise them. The body of Christ and the church, which we are the church, the people are the church, not four walls, we will raise the family together. And so for us, that core foundation is we have to rebuke division as fast and quickly as possible, especially when money is involved. Especially when you have almost every single family member making over $1 million in each individual company. Money will make you do crazy things if you don't understand what the money is supposed to be for.
Right.
And that's for us to continue to advance the vision of breaking this generational curse of poverty that has plagued all of our families. There is no separation. Right now, my sister's 24 years old and she lives with us. She's not allowed to go nowhere. She's not allowed to move out until she can afford what I have. We're not allowed to spend money on a car unless every single person in the family can afford the car. We have to stop giving each other away to the world, and we have to fight together. And as long as you have a little bit of information, I have a little bit of information, then we can stop ourselves from making so many mistakes and then falling, if we talk about the money aspect, falling into these systematical ways of debt. Sending the kids off to college and telling them to go get a degree with a piece of paper that doesn't promise them anything. But yet then they're coming back home to the hood with $50,000 worth of debt and they don't know what they're about to do with it. The goal is togetherness and unity. And how is it that we can keep the mom, the dad, the kids, the grandparents, all the family members together in a household so we can strategize a way for us never to struggle again? And that's the principality that I take from the Word of God the most, is that every single family had a family business. It may be a little bit different because we're dealing with technology nowadays, but they worked for that family until they finally went ahead and built their own family, and then still they worked together. They just expanded on their territory.
I just want to end by having you guys share 3 tips for aspiring entrepreneurs.
I'll start
Okay.
by giving one, and then you could bounce one next, and maybe we could bounce and keep it rolling.
Tag team. I like
So
that.
I would say the first thing is to definitely learn a skill and forget about your passion. Definitely. Passion is a hope dream, pipe dream. I want to go to the NBA, I want to go to the NFL. That's cool, but it's less than a 1% chance to make it there. I'm not trying to down your dreams, I'm just telling you to be smart. By learning a skill such as whether it be taxes, insurance, I don't know, maybe you want to be an app developer, going with the times, things that everybody needs in this world today, you're always going to have a set foundation to make sure that your livelihood is paid for and that your family is taken care of, especially for men. Find a skill immediately. And unfortunately, so many trade schools that are shutting down, which doesn't make sense to me, because the easiest way for you to make money is with what God has already given you, which is your hands and your feet.
Gotcha. And quickly,
We are fighting with big corporations to stay in front of people's faces. As a small business, the number one thing that is important, actually staying in front of the customer's eyes, or you're forgettable, right? We don't have an unlimited amount of budget when it comes to advertisement and marketing as a small business. The reason why I have access to speak to 10 million people with a click of a button on a push notification is because I built my own platform. And so as quickly and as fast as possible, if your business does not have a home, it's homeless, build a mobile application where you can retrieve all that data. You can build your community. As of right now, I make a post on social media. What? I'm gonna have an attitude with social because they're only sending it out to 1% of my followers. It ain't my home, I don't make the rules. But what I can do is create my own home where I make the rules, and now I can feed into my community when, how, and what I want, essentially. So build a platform immediately.
All right, so I'm next up. It's a lot of pressure. I got one. You don't want to be the best store in the mall. You want to be the mall where all the best stores want to be. I'll say that one more time. You don't want to be the best store in the mall. You want to be the mall where all the best stores want to be. When's the last time you really saw a mall shut down? But if we go into the mall, we've seen stores come and go. Am I right? They can't pay the rent because business is fluctuating. They're gone, and what happens? They bring somebody back into the mall to take that spot. But the mall always stays the same. And for a lot of folks that are listening to this, they're like, well, malls are shutting down. Malls aren't shutting down. They're just revolutionizing what a mall is, because Amazon is still a mall. It's just a digital mall now, right? So I would much rather be the mall where I am providing opportunity to people to make money, because if whenever I do that, I'm always going to be in business. I don't want to be the hottest person on the street. I just want to be the person that signs all the hottest people. That's the difference between being the label and being the artist. I'd much rather be the label.
do you have another tip, Dana?
Yep, this is a good one. Stop thinking you have to sell a product or a service. You can sell space too. Something that's a little bit interesting with the Curl Bible platform, we've taken over 300 women's businesses, beauty businesses, from soap to cosmetics to skincare, and I sold them space. I realized I had a huge platform of people, and I had influence, and I had an audience, but every single day I'm using product that I don't sell, which means I'm giving away free marketing and promotion. That didn't sit too well with me. So we started Curl Bible, which is an online beauty supply store, which we give access women with product to sell on Curl Bible. I built an entire beauty supply empire with no product, and I just was the advertisement and marketing for them to sell their own. So we essentially charge slotting fees or leasing fees for them to be on the Curl Bible platform. So when you go on a website and you see that first product there, well, what's the likeliness of you buying the first product that you see? So now, instead of selling airspace with advertisement or selling space on the street with advertisement, we sell digital space too, and it's pretty darn profitable and lucrative due to the fact that there's no expense to it. I'm the market, I'm the brand, and I dump money into marketing and advertisement, which builds up the brand, which then distributes to all the women who had no brands to begin with. Just because you have a product or service doesn't mean you have a brand, nor people who are going to spend money with you because they just don't know you. So, one, space is super profitable. Build something outside of yourself and go ahead and sell it to other people. And so now I don't sell a product or just one beauty supply or one hair care product. I sell hundreds.
Don, what's your last tip?
My last tip. That every entrepreneur needs to be a salesman.
Yeah.
Or AKA, I like to call it an educator, because some people are opposed to sales, but you're being sold to every single day.
That's good.
I'm selling to people right now while we're on this camera. My philosophy is sell or be sold. That's something that Grant Cardone teaches, and I love that concept. The reason why Jumpin' Jack Tax even has 500 licensed partners across the country is because I literally sold 75% of them on the phone. Every single phone call, literally from 7 a.m. in the morning until I was asleep, sometimes at 10 p.m., I got good at the sell. I got good at educating people on why they needed to start a tax business, finding out what their problem was, connecting it to a solution, and then closing the deal and getting the money. If you don't know how to do that as an entrepreneur, your business ain't gonna make money regardless of how good it is, regardless of how good it looks, or you can
How cute the website is.
You can start another tax business. Please, I'll show you how to start one. And you can do the same exact thing as me. But I promise you, you won't get the same results simply because you're not as good at sales as me. The best salesman wins.
Yeah.
Dana, last tip?
Oh, we did 3 each?
Yeah, we ended up doing 3 each. I'm a good one.
I don't know. Okay, this is super simple. But strategy-wise, people only buy what you force them to believe in. And I think it's something that we're super, super fearful to do as new entrepreneurs and this is to piggyback off the salesman part of things. Guys, you are your biggest spokesperson. So if you think that you are 100% entitled to people's money just because you have a great idea, it's idiotic and stupid. You have to go out there and make people believe in what is it that you're attempting to do. And so I think that's the biggest number one thing that we do is we fight for other people to believe. We create soldiers in this army of breaking the curse of poverty in every single business that we go ahead and build. And it's a resource to other people. But we had to put ourselves out there and we had to get on the phones. We had to talk to people, and a lot of the time people are so bougie right now. Every single millennial entrepreneur thinks they can put up some website and think that it's going to sell product. And then they get super, super discouraged and frustrated that they're not making any money. And so I would just say, dude, be confident in yourself and like don't be afraid to actually go out there and sell. And I'm not talking about an Instagram video. Like a lot of people would be 100% successful if for example, we teach our tax preparers all the time. We teach our teammates, go knock on dealerships. Hello, can we partner up? Can we go ahead and set our tax preparation company here so that the second that I give them their advance refund money, they can go ahead and buy the car that they were looking to buy to begin with. You know what I mean? It's those little things where no one on social media is telling you to do and to strategize of just having the confidence of going and literally doing door to door, talking to people, creating partnerships, that could literally change the game, but that 100% is dependent on you being confident and believing in yourself enough to look quote unquote stupid to every single social media entrepreneur who just thinks that they could take a cute picture and sell the lipstick. It just doesn't make sense. And so get out there and just do everything they tell you not to. Because sometimes I think something that has won on our behalf is we don't conform to the way that it's supposed to be done, because honestly we just don't know. We're literally fighting and taking the pavement by whatever possible way we can. We went to college, that's where we met. We dropped out within a month of each other. And so we don't have a blueprint or a plan. So we're making it as we go along, but that takes for me to be confident in what I'm doing and asking people for money. Stop being afraid to ask people to pay you. Like, I wish that I had a sign on my forehead that said, "Pay me, please.
Give me your money."
Give me your money, because it's out there for you to give, and we're giving it away to all these different huge corporations when there's someone on your block who has the same exact business that you could put money in their pockets. So 100% stop being afraid to ask people for money, because I promise.
We got 2 out of 1 with that one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.